Okay, so I'm using some table called test grade. Okay, so as of now, I'll show you one input and one output. So that will kind of make it easy. So create this lookup table. We go inside this lookup table. What we need to do is we can bring these values from an Excel file. So let me take an Excel file. So we can define the job code with a grade. Let's say if the job code is vice president, let's say the grade is B7. Okay, so if the let's say job code is RD, the grade is B6. If the job code is AA, let's say the band is B5. And for all others, let's say it's B3. Okay, I'll just save this.
Hi Praveen, I'm Bhavani here. Today we are dealing with proration, right?
So this is lookup.
Lookup. Oh.
So I have created this Excel, right? So we created this Excel with these codes, and now what I want to do is I want to import the file into the system. Let's say what I'll do is I'll just go take it. So obviously my first row is a header row. I need to select it and then import it. Sorry, I need to save it in CSV file, guys. Sorry.
Praveen, I missed this first 10 minutes, so can you just brief in one line that what is this lookup?
So lookup is like a VLOOKUP for you in Excel kind of a thing where you can have a set of conditions which can pull the value. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking one input, one output scenario. Okay, you can have up to 5 inputs and 5 outputs. So based on the input conditions, you can pull the output into a particular field in your compensation. So currently what I'm doing is I'm mapping grades to the job levels, and I want to bring this value in my sheet. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. We created this file, so we're
Thank you, Praveen.
so we'll import. Oops. So we have a header row, so that's something important. Okay, so now I've overwritten it. So now you see that you have a job code which is mapped to a grade. Okay, is that clear, everyone? So the first input is job code. Based on the job code, I'll pull the grade into our system, into our template. If you look at it, I'm not doing inside our plan template, but I'm doing it for action for all plans. So this is common for all the plans. So this lookup table is common for all the plans. Now we go to our July compensation. Go and delete them. So we'll create a worksheet. Why did I generate the form in the first place? Without even doing anything for lookup, we need to do something for lookup, right? Sorry guys, I was thinking something else. Okay, I'll create a custom column. But before that, let's look at this one. Okay, this job level is the one that so I'm taking this job level as a reference. Obviously, this is Vice President RD AA. So this is my input. So I'll be using it. Remember what it is. So what I'm creating is a custom column which says the grade. So is it read only? Yes, obviously we don't want to input the data. So this is lookup, table name, test, band, right? Comma, input value. What is the input value? Job level.
One.
And which output do you need? How many outputs we have? One output. So you want the value from output 1. So let's say save it. Okay? So you understand what we're doing here? So this one is a lookup table. Looking for table test band. Input is job level. We only have one input, right? So that's why we look at job level. If you have two inputs, you'll put two inputs and the output is always 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Only one output you'll have in a field. Obviously you can't bring two fields into one output, right? So that's why you'll always have one output, but the input should be whatever inputs that you have there in the table. We'll see a couple of them, like how we can have this one. I cannot move, guys. I don't know.
Praveen, I have a question here.
Yes, please.
When we use the formula in this, while designing this field, do we need to choose only yes option in read-only mode?
Yes. Then only it will turn what we call editable. So you should select read only to see the formula available. Otherwise, if I put no, you see that the formula option is grayed out. You see here? The formula option is grayed out. Whereas if I put S, then only you'll see the formula. You can modify it only when it is a read-only field. What is the meaning of read-only? You cannot edit it. So when you cannot edit it, so what are the two options that you have? Either bring the data from an import key or let the system generate through a formula. Those are the two options that you have. When I say it's not a read-only field, that means a customer or a planner can actually edit it directly in the field or in the template. Okay, so I cannot move it. Unfortunately, I don't know, my mouse is not working. So touchpad is. So I'll keep it in the last so that anyway which ways we can see it. So let's generate the worksheet. I'll kind of launch it for everyone so that we can see the data for multiple grades and we can see the value coming out in the output. Did I launch version 22 or version 23? Not 23?
22.
No, after setting up the VLOOKUP, did I use 23 or 22? 22 only, right? It won't generate. The reason for that is we cannot have two forms with the same name for a person. Okay, so we have it. Let's go and check. So let's look at, oops. It's not applicable. So what was the table then? It says NA, which is not right. So it's, let's quickly check once if we're using the correct one or not. Let's see. It's a job level, so it should work. So it says NA, so I feel there is something wrong with the table name. So what is the one that we use? Test band. So, but it's not working. So when we go to action for all plans, you see here, it was test grade actually. So, sorry guys, that's my mistake. So I'll quickly go and delete things. It was test grade, right? So we'll go quickly. This is not test band, this is test grade. Okay, so we'll just go create it.
Is that job level or job code?
So we're using job level.
Okay. The thing which we have mentioned in the file, CSV file.
Now that's just a header, so that should be fine. It's just a header for our reference. You ideally should put job level there, so I just put job code. So the CSV file is just a header, okay? So the first row will not be counted. It doesn't care about the first row, so that's fine. So these are standard fields. You remember our XML first day, I mean not the first day, first week, when we go to employee profile, we saw the fields there. So those fields have a standard ID, like first name has an ID, second name has an ID. So likewise job has an ID. So those are the ones that we're using. For compensation, it uses employee profile. I hope you guys remember what is employee profile. The fields available in the employee profile, the IDs will be used for all this. So job level, it's small job, capital L. So that's what you're referring to, right? Where is this coming from? So this is coming from your employee profile. The field IDs are the ones that we're using. Once you go to Employee Central, you see a more set of data. So for everything, there would be a technical ID for every field. Okay, so we have our forms now. So we'll just go to Marla. Okay, so we've got this. You see the grades coming up now. B7, B5, B6, what are they? So B7, Vice President, B6, RD, B5, AA. So if you look at the employees, B5, first person should be AA. Next person, B7, it's VP. So these two are B6. So that's nothing but your RD. You see, is that working fine? So you can pull the data from your lookup tables. Similarly, as I said, you can create tables with multiple inputs and multiple outputs. So now let's create a scenario where you have got 2 inputs and 2 outputs. Okay, so you can call the number for an output, but input should match both the conditions. It's an AND condition. Let's say I'm going to use salary grade as an input criteria. So I'll just put.
Praveen, I have a question here. When we have this Excel sheet here, it is a B7, B6, B5, B3. It is there in their own order, right? And when it's populated into that plan, what you have shown that in that SF, how it has been given to the B5 to the particular employee, B7 to the rest, how it has been? Like, can you go to the SF sheet?
So who can answer this question? So how is B5 coming up? So what's the whole concept that we explained so far? There's an input condition. If an employee's input condition matches, the output will be taken. Simple. So if you see here, you have got B5. It's not coming randomly to someone. The B5 will be given only when your input matches. What is the input? As per our formula, job level. So the job level, if employee has a job level of AA, then it takes B5. It doesn't pull randomly.
Okay. We have to have the same job codes, whatever we want, and at the same time, even this.
Of course, you can't have anything outside of your system. Whatever you have, it should be there. Then only you can match whatever you have in the system. Right? So whatever total job levels that you have, you should have there. Otherwise, you can't put other company's job levels there and bring some value. So it's like whatever job levels you have in the system, you should put there, and then system generates an output based on the input condition. The input that we chose here is a job level. Now, let's take a condition where I'll put I'll take a different condition now. So I have 3 job levels ideally in the system. Let me use job level. Okay. Actually, my mouse is not working. I don't know how to insert. So let's say I'm taking 2 inputs now. Pay grade. So if an employee is VP and has a pay grade of this, right? So we need to take all these values now. Right, so let's take this. Vice President with a pay grade 16, let's say band B 9. Vice President, Vice President 15 and 14. This is B8, this is B7. RD with a pay grade of let's say 9, he will be under B6. RD with a pay grade of 8 will be B5. RD with a pay grade of 7, that's a B4. RD with a pay grade of 6, that's a B3. And you can have anything actually. A with a pay grade of 8, that's a B2. A with a pay grade of 7, that's a B1. A with a pay grade of 6, that's a B0. Random values, I'm just taking randomly here. Don't go literally, why would an employee whose RD will with the pay grade of 8 will have B5 and AA with a pay grade of 6, B0? Don't ask me, I'm just putting it so that you know how it works. Okay, I saw some value in the input there, I'm trying to map so that we get the output, right? And don't ask me literally why it's this way, I'm just giving it. So we've got our 2 inputs now and 1 output. You can actually have multiple outputs also. Let's say this is, I can tell you, this is 5, this is 5, this is 5, this is 4, this is 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3. Okay? Just an example. How it brings, let's say, it could be anything. Just take an example in this scenario. I'm taking a condition of 2 inputs now. So if an employee's input matches A and B, if job level is vice president and the pay grade is 16, then the ranking is 5, grade is B9. So it's like 2 inputs and 2 outputs. So let's go and create the data in the system. Okay, first I need to save it. A CSV. Okay, I saved. Yeah, it's mandatory, yes. So you need to save it as a CSV file. So let's take so we go to the admin center. So we go to our action for all plans. So when we go to action for all plans, what you can do is you can do an import of lookup tables. Okay, let's take this one. I'm going to delete the test grade. I'll create it again. Two inputs, 2 outputs now. But previously it was 1 input, 1 output. We're going to have 2 inputs, 1 output. 3 inputs, 1 output. 2 inputs, 2 outputs. 2 inputs, 1 input. So sorry. 3 inputs, 2 outputs, something like that. Up to 5 inputs and 5 outputs is what you can have as conditions. So I'll create this table, test grade, created this. So we'll choose the same file. So obviously we have headers, right? So we have these headers, job levels and all the stuff. So we'll import it. The first row is a header. It brings the data into the system. So we got job level, pay grade, grade and ranking. Now we'll go to our template. Well, let's make the changes. Let's go and create worksheets. So 2015 July version 25.
We didn't give formula, Praveen.
Thank you. Thanks for reminding. So we did not give the formula. So here, how you should write, so the table name remains same. So job level you have. So we need a pay grade. So you need to take exactly the same, sorry, not the final one, the current one. The current pay grade of the employee is what we want. So you see you have a salary grade, really? So there's a pay grade. So small pay, capital G grade, right? So we need two inputs now. One is this, and the second one is pay grade, comma 1. So we'll bring the first output in the grade. So we'll also add another custom column called ranking. So it's a read only, obviously. So we'll bring the data from the same table with an output 2. So input remains same because we are taking both the conditions. So we have to bring output 1 or output 2. So we're bringing the output 2, just like your VLOOKUP. This is just like your VLOOKUP in Excel. So we created the ranking. We'll go and create worksheets. 15 underscore July underscore version 25. So let's find this. So we'll launch the plan for everyone. So understand what we're doing with lookup. So it's like you have got multiple input scenarios, input conditions, and you want to bring an output value. So this is something that you don't have as part of standard values that you have. You might not have any standard way to get this data into the system. So this was like a config table or a backend table where you have some conditions. If that matches, you have to bring some values into the system. Maybe it can be used in many places. Let's say, for example, if you have a bonus target. So based on a job level and a pay grade, you have you have a bonus target assigned. You can also bring it. Could be possible scenario. So it's like anything. It could be any condition that your customer has. So we generated the form. Let's go.
Praveen, we
Yes.
write formula for output fields, right? Here, output fields are
Yes,
grade and
we're writing the formula for the output fields. We're giving the input condition, saying, okay, look up for table, whatever table that you have created, and saying if input matches. Input is you're giving the field values. If you look at it, you're giving the technical field values, job level, pay grade, or field IDs. If these two matches the input, then bring the output from number 1 or number 2. 1 is column 1 of output, 2 is column 2 of output. A first output or second output. You can call it that way also. So we have it here. So we go to the last one. You see here? So Alan Thompson, all of them are vice presidents. They've got different B7, B9, B8. But from our table, all of them has a rating of 5. So ranking of 5. But their grade, B9, B8, B7 coming from your vice president, but your grades, pay grades are 14, 16, and 15. So 16 is B9, 14 is B7, 15 is B8. Let's go to Marla Gibbs, who has all the diversified people. So Right, so you see here now, you see B2 with ranking 3, B5, B9 with ranking 5, B3 with ranking 4, and B6 with ranking 4. So that's a multiple scenarios here. So you got 8, 16, 6, 9, and with a combination of your AA, VP, RD, and RD. So ideally VP is ranking 5, RD is ranking 4, AA is ranking 3, but you've got different grades here, which is coming from your job level with the combination. Right. Mm-hmm. Employees data. Yeah. Right. So as I said, so there could be, so why we use these scenarios in the first place? As I said, there could be some data which is not possible to bring directly manually into the system, or you don't want to enter it. Instead, you have some combinations that will give you outputs. Okay, so you want to store it there, and rather than importing manually every time or entering manually, you want the system to generate the values. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. No, don't put it as 10 inputs, no. Max 5 inputs. Inputs are the columns, not the rows. Rows can be thousands. Okay, inputs are the top ones. Columns. Outputs are also columns actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conditions can be met. Maximum you can put up to 5 conditions. That means you can put 5 input conditions and you can get up to 5 output conditions. So what could be different possible scenarios? Okay, you are using guidelines. Okay, so there could be possible scenarios could be like similar to your guidelines or similar to your whatever you have. Your company have some predefined set of conditions. Okay, just like guidelines, how we use guidelines for ratings. So there could be certain values which are kind of defined based on some conditions. So it could be any condition. I mean, to ask me what is it. One possible scenario is like, as I said, you have a fixed value for your bonus target based on an employee's job level and pay grade. You might have some value defined as constant. You just put it there. So you can take it from this particular lookup table. Other possible scenario is you've got so this levels is something that if I'm not wrong, I've used it somewhere. So I've used level somewhere. So this level was for conditions again. So even to use this conditional value in your guidelines. So as I said, this data has to be imported manually, but there are some conditions which can be met and you can directly identify the value. So it's like for your guidelines, let's say for example, I've got employees rating and a field called level. And this level is defined based on a combination of your job level and pay grade, just like how we are doing it. Okay, so if you have to do it manually, you have to do it manually, either import it or enter it. If you want to avoid it instead and say I've got only 10 levels based on certain conditions, you bring the values into the system. So it's like, it depends, purely customer-centric scenarios, but mostly, as I said, we use it when you want to pull some data based on an input condition and you have a predefined set of values as per the organization. It could be any possible scenario. Right. Okay. Is this clear how to work with the lookup tables? Everyone, is it clear? Any questions? Any questions, anyone? No questions? Good. So now, let's get back. Maybe I'll go to Alan Thompson. Food for thought, maybe, before we go to the next session. Today, I'll give you assignment for the project that you guys have to work. So I'll share it now. I'll also share, I think I already sent it to you today, just now I sent some. What you have is, you've got a recording, as I said before, a workshop recording, and then documents regarding that one, and then XML file that you need. So you can use all the three and then start working. Set you can directly use front end. You don't need to use back end at all. Nothing. Even uploading, doing everything is done in the front end. No provisioning needed. As I said, going forward, you'll not use provisioning. So Hyderabad market screwed SuccessFactors a bit, and SuccessFactors themselves are screwing it. So, okay, so if you look at this here, the condition that we see here is an employee has a bonus target of 10,875. Okay, but the total he's getting paid is like Accenture here. You're getting 3,600. So out of your 11,000, almost close to the bonus target, you're getting only 3,600, even though you have achieved 90.5% of your goals. So you've achieved 90.5% of your goals. So, but you still see only 3,600, like close to 30%, just like Accenture or Infosys, right? Why? Because you don't know. And the company says, if you look at it, you've achieved 90%, you got only 1,000 out of this 2,175. And there is another 54375, which gets you 2,600. The point is, the total, if you look at it, it is 10,875. But if you look at the values here, it's 2,175 plus 5,437.5, which is like 70%. The target itself is reduced to 70%. Individual goals is getting somewhere around 20% bonus. Company goals is getting you somewhere around 50% bonus. What happened to the rest of 30%? What happened to it? Because your goals are kind of defined between, so your target is kind of split between your individual goals, individual achievements, and company's achievements. So you got individual achievements here as well as company achievement. Company achievement is hard-coded, usually defined as standard. Okay, so one thing that I can help you out to start with is you've got guidelines for bonus as well. So based on the percentage of achievement, we got a bonus guidelines, just like how we have guidelines in our merit. Okay, so that could be one possible case where you see the data coming in. What is the other thing? But still 90% and you only see 1,000. Not even 50.
Maybe because of the start date and hire date and the proration, this percentage.
So this guy is actually 1,000, right? So this guy is 100%. Why is still this much? So if you look at it overall, it's like you're getting only 30%. Similar to our companies. Group goals, yeah, I mean company goals, you have it, you achieved 80%. So there is some calculation in the back end, which is doing something wrong. I mean, there's something wrong in the calculation, definitely.